2 months ago, a woman received a message that completely changed the way she saw her marriage. It was late at night. Her husband was already asleep in the bedroom. She was sitting in the living room scrolling through her phone when a message request appeared. The name was unfamiliar, but the message itself made her heart stop. It said only one sentence: "I think your husband is lying to you." At first, she assumed it was a joke, or maybe someone trying to cause trouble, but then another message arrived. "I'm not trying to hurt you. I just think you deserve to know the truth." Her hands started shaking. Slowly, she opened the message. The woman who had contacted her sent a screenshot. It was a conversation between her husband and someone saved in his phone as Jessica. The messages were recent, just a few hours old. Her husband had written, "I can't wait to see you tomorrow." Her stomach dropped. She stared at the screen for several seconds, trying to convince herself there had to be some explanation. Maybe it was old, maybe it was fake. But then the stranger sent another screenshot. This time it was a photo. Her husband sitting at a restaurant. Across from him was another woman. They were smiling, holding hands. The date on the photo was from earlier that evening. For a moment she couldn't breathe. 7 years of marriage, and suddenly everything felt like a lie. The stranger sent one final message. "I'm sorry, I thought you should know." Then she disappeared. No more messages, no explanation, just silence. That night she didn't wake her husband. She didn't confront him. Instead, she stayed awake, thinking, remembering all the strange things that had happened recently. The late nights, the sudden business trips, the phone calls he always took in another room. And slowly, the pieces began to fit together. But instead of crying, she started planning. The next morning, her husband kissed her goodbye before leaving for work, just like he always did. And she smiled, just like she always did. But this time, she wasn't the same person, because now she knew the truth. Over the next few days, she acted completely normal. She cooked dinner. They watched television together. They even went out with friends. Meanwhile, she was quietly preparing something her husband would never expect. 1 week later, her husband told her he had another work trip, 2 days in another city. He looked almost relieved when she said it was fine. He had no idea she already knew exactly where he was going. The night he left, she packed a small bag and followed him, not to the airport, but to a hotel on the other side of town. She waited in the parking lot, watching the entrance. 30 minutes later, her husband arrived. And just like the photo she had seen before, he wasn't alone. The same woman walked beside him, laughing, holding his arm. They walked into the hotel together, and that was the moment everything became clear. But she didn't walk inside. She didn't cause a scene. Instead, she quietly took several photos, proof. Then she drove home and began the final part of her plan. 2 weeks later, her husband came home looking unusually happy. He told her something that surprised her. He said he had received a promotion at work, a new position, more responsibility, and a very important meeting with the company executives. She smiled and congratulated him, but she already knew exactly what was going to happen. Because earlier that day, she had sent an email, not to his job, but to the woman he had been seeing. Attached to the email were all the photos she had taken, and one short message. "If you think he's honest with you, you should probably know he's still married." Later that evening, her husband received a phone call. His face turned pale almost immediately. The woman he had been seeing had just discovered the truth, and she wasn't happy. He tried to explain. He tried to lie, but the damage was already done. For the first time since the messages arrived, she finally spoke. She looked at him calmly and said something he would never forget. "You should have been honest." Because now everyone knows the truth. Sometimes betrayal destroys a relationship, but sometimes it simply reveals who someone really is.